Hello viewers, today we would be discussing about some of the important thinking order questions from chapter electricity. Whatever we have covered in the previous videos, based on that only these questions are being taken. So let us start. First is the ratio of resistance of copper rod X and Y of length 30 and 10 centimeter is given with radius. So you have to find their resistance. So how are you going to do that? Before that, you should know one of the formulas, that is R is equal to rho L by A, and because wire is copper, so it doesn't matter, rho will remain same only. So let me take, because two wires are taken of copper, rods are taken, so I'm going to take R1 is rho L1 by A1, R2 is equal to rho L2 by A2 for two rods, right? Now you are going to put the values, lengths are given, so let me just put the value. Rho L1 is 30 upon A1. See, radius is given here, right? One is 2 and one is 1. So radius area, because the wire is cross-sectional part of the wire is a circle, so we know area of a circle is pi r square. So we're going to write pi r square. R square means 2 square. No need to solve it much, you can just leave your answer here. Similarly for the other wire, rho as such, this is given as 10 pi and 1 square. Because you have to find the ratio, so you are going to divide them. So when you are going to divide, so rho will cancel out, pi will cancel out, this will cancel out, 2 square. So I'm left with 2 by 4 upon 1 by 1. 1 square is 1 only. So when you're going to solve it, you're going to get your answer as 3 upon 4 or 3 is to 4. So this is your answer. Next question is, the voltage current reading of a certain material is given in the table. This question is taken from this year's board exam, ICSE class 10. So this question was asked there, the table was given to us, and they were asking, state whether the conductor is ohmic or non-ohmic. So remember, ohmic conductors would be the one where voltage versus I graph would be a straight line, and non-ohmic would be the one where V versus I graph would not be a straight line, could be any curve kind of a shape, right? So here they are asking, you have to study and then you have to tell. Okay, now just ensure what you are seeing here. So 10 volt, 20 volt and 30 volt. I is 2, 3 and 4. So you can see as the value of voltage is increasing, I is also increasing by same amount. Like if you want to draw it in a rough, I mean, they're not asking you to draw, you just have to, write whether it is ohmic or non-ohmic, it doesn't matter. I'm just giving you an idea that you can check it in rough and then you can write yes or no, I mean ohmic or non-ohmic. So like voltage is here, this is 10, 20 and 30, and here the next one is 2, 3 and 4, right? Current is given. So you see here, when you have 10 value, this value is 2, okay? And when we have, like, I'll write dot here, when it is 3 here, you have 20 value, and when it is 4, you have value to be 30, right? So you're going to get a straight line here. So yes, it is a ohmic conductor. Very, very important. Uh, Hi there from India to Russia. Okay, justify your answer. So how you are going to justify your answer? Because here you'll say, because we are getting a straight line, that is why it is an ohmic conductor. After that, state Ohm's law. That is a very simple statement. You have to write the exact wordings, that keeping the temperature of a wire constant, the potential difference applied is directly proportional to the current, right? Potential difference applied. So the exact statement is to be written there, right? After that is the third question, that is specific resistance depends on, okay? So if you remember, specific resistance is given by symbol rho, and in the last video I told you that specific resistance or resistivity, it doesn't depend on whether you are taking a particular length or particular area or whatnot. It just depends on the material that you are taking. So answer for the third would be B part, that is material, right? Fourth question is quite interesting. This question is taken from one of this year's specimen paper of ICSE only. And yeah, as I said, this video is useful for both CBSE and ICSE students. So yes, the graph of V versus I for the 4 different materials are given. Okay, which of these materials would be used for making filament bulb? Second part, for connecting wires. Okay, I told you lastly that if you take V versus I graph, so you get a straight line. Straight line means it's an ohmic conductor. And yes, here you should know one thing, that the line which is more close to voltage will have more resistance, because here you are being given 4 lines for 4 different materials, right? PQRS. So I know out of all these, S is more close to V, so it has got more slope, so you will say it is having more resistance. Okay, now before you do anything, just let me tell you one thing. R has got the maximum resistance, sorry, S has got maximum resistance and R has got minimum resistance, right? Now after that, they are asking filament of the bulb. We know when you take a filament, it is wire made up of very high resistance, because it needs to, you know, produce heat and it needs to produce light. So we know filament of a bulb is made up of resistance of a high, wire is made up of material of high resistance. So your answer for first part would be S, right? And second part is connecting wires in the household. We know the wires that we use in the household is a copper wire, and yes, it has got less resistance. So answer for that would be R. And yes, we know silver is the one which has got the least resistance out of the material, but yes, they are very costly, so we don't use them, right? Okay, after that is I'm going to turn to the next set of questions, not this one. Yeah, this question, that is two, there are 2 copper wires. This one I'm going to take up, right? Now they are saying there are 2 copper wires of length 1:2 and they have area of cross section 1:4. What is the ratio of their specific resistance and resistance? So one thing you should be very much clear, that specific resistance doesn't depend on, you know, any area or length. It only depends on the material, and here because you're taking it to be copper, so for both the wires the resistance would be, specific resistance would be same. So answer for A part would be 1:1. Reason you can mention, because both are made up of same kind of material, that is why, that is copper. B part is resistance. Okay, we know formula for resistance is rho L by A, and because we have 2, we are going to take R1 like I did for the previous. Rho will not change because rho depends on the kind of material, and because it is copper here, so we are not going to change that. L, let me take, it's given 1:2, means for first wire it is 1, for the second wire it is 2. Similarly for area also, of the first wire it is 1 and for the second wire it is 4. So I'm going to write it is 1:2 now, so I'm going to take ratio to be 1:2. Let me write it here for you. I can take it as, because it's a ratio, x is to 2x, right, x comma 2x, and let it be y comma 4y, right? So for the first wire the value would be x upon area is y, right? I hope it is clear. And when you're going to write it for the second one, rho will remain same. L for the second wire length is 2x and this is 4y, right? And because they're asking you to find the ratio, so what are you going to do? You're going to divide them. So let us divide. Now what will happen? Rho will cancel out, x will cancel out, y will cancel out, this will also cancel out too, right? So now I'm left with R1 by R2 as, in the numerator nothing is left, only 1, and here I am left with 1 by 2. So this 2 will go up, R by R2 will be only 2, and because it's a ratio, so write 2:1 as your answer for B part, right? Now next question is, if the resistors R1, R2 and R3 are connected in series such that resistance for the first is greater than the second is greater than the third, what is the relation between I1, I2, R3, and they have given us the 4 values. So remember, when you connect the resistors in series, current remains same no matter resistance of whichever thing is more than the other one. So your answer would be A part, current will be same in all the three resistors, right? And this question, next, three cylinders are given to us. You have to compare their resistance. Very important question, very important. So now here, compare the resistance. So if you want to compare the resistance, first thing is you have to write the value of resistance in terms of area and length. So let us write that. For the first conductor, I know that R1, let me take it as R1 resistance for this, R2 as resistance of this, sorry, yeah, R2 for this and R3 for this, right? So R1 would be rho, L is taken as capital L and area is capital A, right? For the second one, let me write as R2 and this value is rho, L is 3L, area is A by 3. So when you solve it, this 3 will go in the numerator and you will get 9L by A. Okay. Now R3 for the third one, for this particular wire, rho, L is L by 3 here, area is 3A. Now what will happen, this 3 will come in the denominator, so you will get rho, L, A and 9, 3 3s are 9, right? So now they are asking you to compare, so means compare means you have to write their ratio. I'll write it like this, 9 rho, L by A is 2 rho, L 9A. So here you can see all these terms will cancel out. You are only left with 1 is to 9 is to 1 by 9. So if you want to write the ratio, so you can either leave your answer as such or you can write 9 is to, I mean you have to take the LCM, 9 is to, this would be 81 is to 1. But usually we leave our answer here only, so both are correct, right? And the last question for today is I versus IV graph is given for the two wires as shown, and for two wires, both the wires are of same length, area of cross section but different material. This is important line. Which wire has more resistivity? So resistivity means they are asking us the value of rho. Okay, now I know R is equal to rho L by A, so this value they're asking me, so I'm going to keep rho here, R A by L. Now it is clearly mentioned that area as well as the length, they are same, so these two things are not going to affect my answer of rho. Only and only R value is going to affect. And I know when I get I versus V versus I graph, more the value of resistance is depicted by the slope. Out of A and A and B, slope of A is more, right? As a result, what will happen? A will be having more resistance. So here, more the resistance, more will be the resistivity. So your answer would be resistivity for A will be greater than, sorry, resistivity of A will be greater than resistivity of B. Reason being because resistance of wire A is given out to be more than resistance of B, and it is clearly mentioned that there are they have got same length and area of cross section, right? So I hope you'll find this video useful, and next time I'll start with the next topic of this particular chapter, that is current and electricity, right? Stay tuned. Thank you so much.